All right, thank you for being here this afternoon as we address the violence in the James Casey public housing development this week that has resulted in the injuries of 2 Nashville police officers. Speaking with you this afternoon will be Chief Anderson, Mayor Megan Berry, as well as 3 members of the clergy, Reverend Michael Joyner, Reverend William Harris, and Reverend Adric Lane. Also here is Commander David Imhoff of the East Precinct, who will be able to answer your questions. Sergeant Danny Hale of the FOP is also with us this afternoon. Chief Anderson.
As you know, 2 Nashville police officers have been seriously injured this week while they were responding to calls of violence on South 7th Street in the James Casey Homes development. I want to be clear that Officer Josh Hausman on Monday night and Officer Matthew Cameron last night had come to that neighborhood to protect the citizens from the harm that they were experiencing. They themselves were attacked. Officer Hausman was attempting to break up a fight between 2 females, and he was stabbed in his left hand by some third party. Officer Cameron, who was in the area due to shots fired call, came to the aid of a woman he witnessed being shoved. That suspect, who does not live in Casey Homes, dragged the officer to the ground and was aided in the fight by others in the crowd. Attacks on police officers are unacceptable, and they will not be tolerated by this city. Those responsible will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Thankfully, Officer Hausman and Officer Cameron are going to be okay, and they will be returned to work just as soon as they are medically cleared. In light of what's happened on Monday and Tuesday night, this police department has taken a number of steps to reduce violence in the James Casey community. East Precinct Flex officers on all 3 shifts will be assigned to the Casey neighborhood for at least the next several days. The MDHA task force, which is 5 officers and a sergeant who are specifically assigned to the government housing projects, will be working exclusively in Casey until further notice. A crime reduction initiative staffed by extra duty officers being paid overtime is being implemented in this area for the next several days. 1 and possibly 2 SkyCop mobile cameras will be set up in Casey Homes today. 1 will be deployed on the specific area where these officers were attacked on Monday and Tuesday night. In an effort to increase the safety of the community and our police officers patrolling, they will be in pairs. While I'm taking what has occurred over the last 2 days very seriously, this police department is in no way abandoning our philosophy and our absolute commitment to form strong neighborhood partnerships within this community to enhance safety and improve quality of life. We are a neighborhood police department, and James Casey Homes is a Nashville neighborhood. There are 716 family units consisting of 1,900 persons who reside in the James Casey Homes. Those families deserve a safe and peaceful community, and this police department is working to bring them that to their neighborhood. From the information we have developed since Monday, the fighting on South 7th Street appears to involve a dispute among young women, basically over young men. Tensions and tempers have absolutely gotten out of control. Earlier today, we asked Reverend Michael Joyner from the Greater Faith Missionary Baptist Church and his colleagues to establish a presence in the Casey community to reduce these tensions and to work toward a nonviolent resolution to these disputes. Reverend Joyner will now speak.
First, let us say that we're both praying and for our 2 officers that were injured, and so hope for them a speedy recovery, and we thank them for the work that they do in our community. We are looking to reach out to the community of Casey Homes and see exactly what's going on in the Casey Homes. We're hoping to talk with some leaders over there and see what's causing the most of all the attack upon our police officers. There may be more than we know, and if it is, we definitely want to bring a solution to that problem. We want both our residents and our police officers safe. We like to think that we have a relationship with our police officers in Nashville, Tennessee, that's not like any across the country, and hoping that if there's any problems that are going on, that we can come to a quick, fast resolution before anyone else can be injured or hurt. As we see across social media and on the news, there are many incidents happening across this country that involve police officers, and we definitely don't want it to come and hit home here in Nashville. However, they, like everybody else, have the right to protect themselves, and we're just going to see what we can do as clergy members and community leaders to see if we can bring some peace to the Casey homes and make it a safe place for those that live there and those officers that patrol there as well.
Thank you. For those of you who may not know, within our volunteer clergy, we have a youth violence intervention team. These gentlemen here come out in the middle of the night, no compensation, and sort of provide a bridge between the police department and the community. And I know that they're going to be a great asset over in Casey, so thank you for the work that you're doing. Mayor Berry has been briefed on what has taken place and has offered her full support for the police department. Mayor Berry.
Thank you all, and first I want to just say that I had an opportunity earlier today to speak with both of the police officers, and they sound in good spirits, and I want to thank all of you for being here today. I think as a community we know two things: our police officers need to be safe and our community needs to be safe, and attacks on police officers are outrageous and completely unacceptable. With that in mind, we have to work together to put our community in a place where we have peace. And I want to make sure that we recognize that Officer Houseman and Officer Cameron and all of our Metro police officers put their lives on the line every day for our safety and for the well-being of our citizens. And they deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. And that did not happen this week with these two incidences. And those responsible need to be punished to the full extent of the law. And let's also be clear, this is not an issue about the community clashing with the police. These two incidences are examples of our police officers being caught up in the middle of tense and violent situations between residents and non-residents in this area. That is why I am so grateful that so many of the faith leaders are willing to step up and to work with our police department to help calm down that situation over on South 7th Street so that we can restore peace and safety to the neighborhood for that community. Both our police officers and those hard-working residents who are being caught in the middle of all of this deserve nothing less. As mayor, I pledge my support to Chief Anderson, to our police department, and to the community members to do whatever we can to make sure this does not happen again. Thank you.
We also have with us Sergeant Danny Hale, President of the FOP. Danny.
I will be very brief. I want everybody to know that I agree. These are isolated incidents that have occurred in the community. I don't want this to get bigger and bigger, and I think the police response and the city's response is right on line. I want everybody to know out there that I've done this job for many years, and I know that 99% of Nashvillians are darn good people. And these police officers, 99% of these police officers are very good people, and all we need is each other's support, and this thing is going to work out in the future. I'm sure of it. And I'm proud that I was allowed to be here to speak on behalf of these officers, speak on behalf of this city. I'll build this city up every chance I get because I love being here. But first and foremost, I'm glad these officers are going to be in good shape, and the police department is stepping up, and these officers are going to feel the support that they need. Thank you.
Questions?
I went up there for 2 nights, and there were people lighting a dumpster on fire. Last night they were lighting grass on fire. Even after this incident, there were just dozens of people on the road acting crazy. Who is going to hold people accountable? This is public housing.
Well, we'll have police officers out there. I'm going to let Commander Imhoff address directly what we're doing. But certainly there'll be an increased police presence. And anytime you have one incident, it's likely to trigger another. Mostly it's been my experience that people involved in such situations aren't really residents. They're trespassers, and so they'll be dealt with accordingly. But Commander Imhoff.
Well, right now, as Chief said earlier, we're using a lot of the flex teams we already have. At East Precinct, we're adjusting their hours, so we have more during the evening hours. Central Precinct's been a great partner with us, and they're letting us use some of their resources as far as flex teams. The MDHA task force is giving us resources, as well as aviation. And to believe, I've got an overwhelming number of phone calls today from all the precincts and all the divisions about what can we do to help us. And with that said, I've got an overwhelming number of phone calls from citizens over at Casey and the officers that we have over there now. There's citizens coming out of the houses showing their support. So it's a partnership. It's not only the resources we're using, but it's also the MDHA Housing Corporation, as well as the citizens over there. So we're all working together to make this the best we can, and trying to identify the people that you're talking about, and to get those folks, we find out who they are, find out if they belong there or don't belong there. If they don't belong there, you know, arrest them for trespassing. If they do belong there and they're still doing those things, report them to MDHA so they can be sanctioned through them, as well as maybe face charges. So, and we're still trying to identify a lot of the people that we've been seeing in the videos, and we're asking for the public's help in doing that as well.
Are more arrests possible?
Sure. Like I said, we're still trying to identify people that were involved in the actual situation last night. We're still trying to identify the people that were involved the night before. So we have made some arrests, and there's some people of interest we already have identified.
And you mentioned putting officers out in pairs now. Obviously, the Facebook imagery showed him sort of by himself for a good 30 seconds. Was he just the first on the scene?
He was the first on the scene, and he visually could see a woman being assaulted. So he felt like he needed to act right there. So, and he did so. But right now we're having officers be together, so they're not in that situation where they feel like they have to act right that particular moment. They're going to be together when they get there. So if they do see something, they can act together.
What about counseling for these guys? What do you guys want?
Well, the police department has what we call PASS, the Police Advocacy Support Section, and both these officers are going to be talking to a counselor there for a debriefing before they're allowed to come back to work. And both are very open to it. It's a great process. It helps officers all the time. And it's a great forum for them to be able to sit down and just talk about the situation.
Commander, you talked about trespassers being some of the biggest problems. I mean, that's kind of a challenge to keep these folks out of a neighborhood that don't belong there.
Sure.
How do you go about trying to get that goal?
Well, the first thing is just to identify the people that do belong and the people that don't belong. Our officers work down there every single day, and we know who the players are, and we know who belongs and who doesn't belong. We have a trespass list. We work very closely with the MDHA, and they have a trespass waiver list, and we work with them. So those people have been identified. So when we see people that don't belong over there, we address it.
And are you worried? A lot of these videos have been circulating on Facebook. They've been getting a lot of attention on Facebook. Are you worried about how social media affects copycats or affects people wanting to get attention like this?
Social media is a part of our everyday life now. The officers are aware of it. You know, obviously we're scared. We're concerned with the fact that you'll have that situation. But all we can do is go out and do what we do every day. We can't really worry about those things. We're out to serve a purpose. We're out there to help the community. We're out there to do a job, and we're going to do that job.
I know that we seem to be able to avoid what's become known as the Ferguson effect here in Nashville and the rest of the country had violent protests. You all were handing out coffee and had peaceful demonstrations. And you're saying that these two were fights among women, but it sounds like the dumpsters and things were not, you know, fights over boys at all. So do you think that we have avoided the Ferguson effect? Do you think we'll be able to continue, and why and how?
I think there's been many variations of what people believe might be the Ferguson effect, but certainly this in no way fits in any of the definitions that I've heard. These were fights among people gathered there. They were in no way involved in a protest. It was not an anti-government situations. These were just domestic situations that our officers happened upon and tried to intervene. So there's no way that I could attribute this to any sort of Ferguson effect that may or may not exist here or anywhere else.
How would you describe the way in which these officers handled themselves? Obviously, the video that we've seen, an officer under attack, getting kicked, multiple people, yet no gun was drawn.
You know, that's part of their training. That's part of who they are. And yes, I admire them so much. Officer Cameron, even after he was assaulted and in great pain, he chased down the suspect that had assaulted that woman. So I have nothing but admiration for the way they handled themselves. It says a lot about Nashville, and it says a lot about the officers of this police department.
Anybody else?
Thank you for being here.